In every corner of our country, the Latino population is growing faster than ever, now at nearly 63 million. And as part of Hispanic Heritage Month, tonight we're examining the debate over speaking Spanish, its link to identity, and whether who you are is so much more than just the language.
It took me a long time to figure out who I am.
Denise Cox is a documentarian behind the film called Being Eñye.
I feel like this is what I was born to do.
One of the themes, exploring the relationship between language and the Latino identity.
Not only do people experience feeling ashamed, but they experience being shamed.
Shamed, she says, for not seeming Latino enough.
Those of us who were born hearing Spanish and English at home was a privilege. And the decision to not learn it by our parents, it wasn't made lightly.
Too often, people wait for a major event before charting a new course for their life.
I think we wait because we think there's an order to things like college, marriage, kids.
Denise Cox, award-winning filmmaker, makes a yearly list of goals and says she waited 17 years before completing her biggest, making her first film.
Because I was so passionate about making this film. I was so insistent. I had that compulsion and I couldn't stop myself. I knew the impact that this film would have, that if I had a chance to create belonging, then it was worth all the sacrifices.
Now, has this also impacted your view of your own identity?
Girl, it is like totally transformed me. And what I say, it brought me back to me. It's kind of like a journey to myself. And I think that that's what the opportunity here is for people, is to be able to rid ourselves of the pieces and parts of ourselves that don't work, that we thought we had to be, in exchange for who we really are.
I started working on this project 3 years ago, and I had the idea for 17 years to tell the story of what it's like to be first-born American, born to Latino parents, and what it feels like to have to kind of ride the cultural line. Like for me personally, I never felt like I was Puerto Rican enough or American enough. But if I'm an Eñye, that means I'm both and I'm enough.
That's amazing. Eñye.
Yes. And then I realized, wait, this is a story of everybody.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because one of my daughters kind of struggles with, like, am I black enough? Am I white enough? I mean, where am I? That situation for many people really does exist.
We are at VaynerMedia. We're about to walk in. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment for a really long time. I'm really trying to validate, like phase one is I know how you feel, and that's what this movie's about. And the next thing is trying to influence this group of people. And so when I feel like when Latino people that don't feel connected and don't feel a part of things, they don't civically engage, they don't participate in their lives, they're not entrepreneurs, I think that they're the best leaders. I think we're in like the best leadership program when we're little kids, because we're translating for our parents, we're translating culture all the time. And so we're like, we're not born, we're made leaders. Thank you, and you're a huge
hindsight, that had a lot of, that's really interesting. I haven't thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you categorize this American? What do you call it?
An Eñye.
So somebody who's a Latino-born American, is that by your definition?
By my definition, their parents have to be from a Spanish-speaking country.
Right.
Now,
their parents were born from a Spanish-speaking country. They were born here.
Right. Now, and then there are people like you that came here when you were 3.
Yes.
Right. So you're also included.
I get super pissed that my sister and brother had this big advantage.
I received was this real camaraderie with these women, and all the feelings that accompany that. Taking the action to collaborate with these women gave me the sense of, wait, I did do something. I contributed something. We added to the conversation here with this. We added something positive here, something new to think about when it comes to this. I'm proud of that.
The documentary is based here in Denver, and 9 News reporter Jonathan Gonzalez joins us now. You are an Eñye.
I am an Eñye. Belin is an Eñye as well. Our photographer Manny Sotelo, who shot the story for later, is also an Eñye. And what that means is that we're part of Generation Eñye, and it's interesting because what it means is that we weren't necessarily Latino enough for our Latino culture, but not necessarily American enough here in America.
I spoke to one filmmaker and podcaster who is challenging the role of women in society and the workforce while encouraging women to make the changes they desire to see.
To sit and think about that and to wonder how are things going to change. And frankly, I have found a lot of power myself in looking at what can I do to affect this.
I'm about transforming lives and making sure that people know that they belong and that they matter and that it's worth it to talk about the hard stuff.